Well, hello, my beautiful book besties, and thank you for stopping by. My name is Liv if you're new here, and today we're going to do just a good old book haul. As you may or may not have noticed, I have been unhauling books like crazy for the past month or two. I honestly am just very overwhelmed and have been overwhelmed with the amount of books I have to read and the books that I own, and I just have felt so much better since I've unhauled so many books. But that is because I have wanted to make room for all of these new books I'm about to share with you. All of these new books actually do belong on my shelf. There is current space for them, so if you see empty space, it's because I actually had to pull them off the shelves. So this is not like a new book haul that I'm having to make room for, which is honestly such a good feeling because I don't have books stacking up still. I wanted to do a big unhaul to make room for these, and I just have not had the time to do an actual book haul yet. So maybe it's been entertaining to see all the books I've unhauled, and now you get to see all the books that I've hauled recently to replace the books I've unhauled. Anyways, you guys get the idea. I don't know why I'm rambling. I have accumulated some very amazing books lately, a lot of new releases, some special editions. I've been very intentional with the books that I've bought this year, so I'm definitely hoping to continue that mindset into the rest of the year, but I'm not gonna lie, fall always gets me. So you can probably expect another book haul coming in the fall season, but these books are just books that I've accumulated since like spring and going into summer. I do have some really fun books to share with you. I'm gonna quit rambling now and we're just going to go straight into the haul. If I counted right, I think I have exactly 31 books to share with you, which is a decent amount of books. I know I've accumulated in the past couple months, but it's been a couple months. So we're gonna go ahead and start off with our fantasy reads, the first one being The Wind Weaver by Julie Johnson. This book was not on my radar at all until my friend Kendall was saying this is one of my most anticipated reads, and I was like, what are you talking about? I've never even heard of this author, and yet here I am with the Fairy Loot edition that I got from Pango Books, because this edition, absolutely stunning. Like, I cannot get over how pretty this book is, you guys. A lot of the romantasy people I follow have said this is their favorite read they've read all year. I don't know much about this book at all. It says a prophecy reignited, a storm unleashed, a love that could shatter everything. I guess she's like a halfling of some sort. She has a birthmark on her chest. I don't know, this book sounds so unique, and I don't really know what the feathers are for, but I've heard that this is kind of like Avatar: The Last Airbender, and that sounds perfect to me. So I really hope I end up loving this book, considering I now have this very special edition. Next, I have another very exciting special edition, The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. It looks super creepy, and this honestly reminds me of the singer Sia, her little short blonde bob, but this is just so pretty. I love the purples, and I'm just so excited that I have this book. I'm actually currently reading this book. I'm 100 pages in, and it's taken me a minute to kind of adjust to her writing, but I'm holding on to faith that I'm really going to end up loving this one in the end because it's gothic, and I've been hearing nothing but amazing things. I do own One Dark Window, and I really still want to read that. Next, I have an Owl Crate, I think adult edition of Upon a Starlit Tide. Do you guys see like this rainbow holographic foiling? The back says, when the tide reaches its peak and turns, the magic will fade. That is when you must return. This looks like the perfect summary book. This is going to be one of my favorites of the year. I already know it. I've heard great things about it already, and who doesn't love kind of like a dark Little Mermaid retelling? Little Mermaid was my absolute, and still is my absolute favorite Disney princess. Recently, in case you haven't noticed, I hit 20k on YouTube, and that is like a dream number I never thought I would say. I am so grateful for each and every one of you that have been here, that are new here, that have been here since, what, 2019 when I first started this channel. But either way, I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. I would never take this channel for granted, and because I was so excited, I decided to treat myself to some books that, yes, I may already own, but I do not own these editions. And one of my favorite duologies of all time is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. So of course I'm going to use a milestone as an excuse to finally buy these. These are so beautiful. I got them on Blackwell's, in case you are wondering where to buy UK editions. I'm pretty sure they have like a New York warehouse or something, because they do have free shipping. I don't know what exactly I want to do with them, but they are being displayed on my shelf. I see them every day and they make me so happy. And the next book I have is the illustrated anniversary edition of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. through. In case you're new here, this is one of my favorite books of all time. I've been eyeing this edition for such a long time, and I don't know how much longer they're going to be making these, and oh my goodness, I love the sprayed edges. This is just so beautiful. I mean, look at these end papers. They're so beautiful. Not only that, but there are a lot of fan art that is in the middle of this, which is super cool. I thought that was such a cool way to do an anniversary edition. This is so pretty. I wish I could have like a poster of her. I have it displayed on my shelf now. I really need to reread this book. The next book I have is part of a duology, and this book just came out recently. You can probably guess what it is by the sprayed edges, but that is A Curse Carved in Bone by Danielle Jensen. I have been waiting for the conclusion. Actually, I don't even know if this is the conclusion of this series. The Norse mythology, the suspense, the cliffhangers on the end of every single chapter. Like, I am fully obsessed with this author now, and I want to read everything she's written. I literally don't want to say a single thing about this because I went into the first one blind, and that was the best way to experience it. Just know that she's a very well-versed author. The writing is phenomenal. I mean, everything you want in a romantasy, yes, A+. And then we have Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. This is a book that again was not super high on my radar until my friend Kendall was like, this book is gonna be amazing. How can I not want to buy this? I mean, the edges, and it looks like there's like a whole town within the trees. Like, what even is this book? I need to know. I have been dying to read this. I don't even really know much about what it's about, but yes, it was kind of like a sprayed edges cover by. But what I do know about this author is she actually writes like these small town romance suspenseful kind of stories. I've heard people tell me before that I would really enjoy her other series, but I think I'm gonna start here since this is more fantasy. I know she's written romance before, so I'm hoping that that means that this is going to be very well written. But yeah, this has been everywhere lately and I really need to read it. And then we have Night Weaver by R.M. Gray. I actually have had the indie copy of this book for like a year now, and then of course I heard that it was getting traditionally published, and I think I like this copy even more because you have like some type of family tree on the end papers, which I think is really cool. And of course you have the sprayed edges. I honestly don't know anything about this other than it is a pirate like romance story, and that's all I need to know. I needed the prettiest copy I could to read it. I mean, I am who I am. And then I have the same situation kind of with Heavenly Bodies. I had owned the indie copy for like a year, and then of course this got picked up to be traditionally published, and I just like the foiling and the sprayed edges better. It's the first book in a dazzling new romantasy series that blends Greek mythology and shadow magic with a tantalizing enemies to lovers romance that will rewrite the stars. I've always been so enamored with fantasy books that include Greek mythology because I think it just adds a whole nother level of like intrigue for me, and so I'm very interested in this one. Next I have Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. This book is absolutely stunning, and it sounds like the most perfect cozy little romance story you have ever heard of. It's about a widowed housekeeper and her sworn protector. While locked in her bedroom, Hala inspects the ancient sword that's been collecting dust on the wall since before she moved in. Out of desperation, she unsheathes it, and suddenly a man appears. His name is Circus, he tells her, and he is an immortal warrior trapped in a prison of enchanted steel. I actually don't know if this is a retelling of any sort because that's usually what T. Kingfisher does. It just sounds like such a cozy, cute time, and yeah, I love the look and I love the sound of this. I also love the look and I love the sound of A Fellowship of Bakers and Magic. I, once again, have had the hardback indie copy edition that you can no longer buy, and then of course they want to go and traditionally publish it, and I end up with 2 copies because this one is so freaking pretty. All I know about this one is there's a baking battle, and honestly, that's all I need to know. I want to say our main character or characters in this book are elves of some sort. I think I'm gonna end up saving this for like the transitional fall season, or maybe even November when I just need something a little extra cozy. Next I have The Otherwhere Post by Emily J. Taylor. Look at these bookish floral end papers. This is what drew me in from the very beginning about this. 7 years ago, Maeve lost everything. Her world, her father, even her name. Desperate to escape the stain of her father's crimes, she lives under a fake name, never staying in one place long enough to put down roots. Then, she receives a mysterious letter with 4 impossible words. Your father was innocent. I guess she's getting trained in the art of scriptomancy, which sounds super cool. It's like a dangerous magic that allows couriers to enchant letters and deliver them to other worlds. That sounds a lot like Divine Rivals, kind of like Narnia. I don't know, I just feel like there's some nostalgic feelings wrapped around this book for me, and I think this is just gonna be such a fun read. Okay, next we're gonna go through some of the mystery thrillers I've recently picked up, starting with Richard Osman's The Man Who Died Twice, as well as The Bullet That Missed. I am so excited about the Netflix adaptation we're getting for this. I think it's coming out like in the fall or something this year, and I think it's gonna be such a fun time. The cast is already so amazing, so I'm very excited to see if they're going to end up making like all of these books and mysteries into separate movies or what they're gonna do with it. But in case they do, I had to be prepared and own a couple of the others in the series just whenever the mood strikes. I feel like the first one was such a good time, so when I'm in the mood to like hang out with these heartwarming characters again, I'm definitely going to be reaching for these. And then Richard Osman recently came out with We Solve Murders, which I also had to pick up because it is about a grandfather and a granddaughter that solve murders. This one also apparently is set in paradise or set during the summertime, which I just now realized, so maybe that means I might end up picking this one up this summer. There's nothing more exciting than finding an author's backlist and reading the backlist and being super excited for their work, and then you realize that they just came out with a new book too. So that's kind of my excitement towards this book, and I'm really hoping to read it soon. And then I have We Live Here Now by Sarah Pinborough. Oh my gosh, it has been like, what, 3 years since we've had a book from her? Sarah Pinborough has some of the craziest psychological twists I've ever experienced in a mystery thriller, and I know this one is just gonna blow me away. So when I heard that it was like a haunted house or gothic theme, I absolutely lost my mind because that is like my favorite theme or kind of trope in a mystery thriller. I love when you're reading a book and you're questioning like everything you're reading, you're questioning reality, you don't know what's real and what's not, and I know that Sarah Pinborough is absolutely gonna blow me away with this one. Next I have Tell Me What You Did by Carter Wilson. I've had a couple friends and people tell me that I would really enjoy this one. It's about a girl that essentially interviews, I don't know if they're like killers or what, but she has her own podcast and she gets people to confess their crimes for a living. That is such a unique concept for a mystery thriller, and I really hope that the story actually carries through with how exciting that sounds. I believe the narration is supposed to be really good too because there's like those podcast elements. This one is definitely high on my radar because it sounds so incredible. And then I have Wild Dark Shore. Kind of got this book as like an add-on with Book of the Month on a whim because I keep seeing it everywhere. It's actually really short as well. It's less than 300 pages. It takes place on an island not far from Antarctica. I've heard there is like a person that washes up on the beach and there's like a whole mystery involved. I've heard that this is a very slow burn, but the payoff at the end is absolutely incredible. So this is very much out of my comfort zone, but I will say that I have been exploring and really enjoying a lot of contemporary or more literary books this year. This book is everywhere and I need to find out for myself what it's about. Next I have Alex North's new book, The Man Made of Smoke, which I swore off never wanting to read one of his books again. I read The Whisper Man, I think, when it came out, and I really did not like it. It was so lackluster. It was supposed to be super creepy, and it was not creepy at all. Dan Slave has been haunted by the crime he witnessed as a child, narrowly escaping an encounter with a notorious serial killer. And this book is kind of giving me Prodigal Son vibes, if you guys have seen that show. That's something that I've currently been watching, even though it's really backlisted. I've been really enjoying it. And something about this book is definitely giving me Malcolm Bright, like profiler kind of vibes. I really want to see if I enjoy one of Alex's books even more than The Whisper Man. Next I have a book from the publisher that doesn't come out till the end of July that I'm so excited to have in my hands. It's called The Killer Question by Janice Hallett. No, I have not read The Appeal yet. I do own it and I do plan to get to it, and I will probably read it before this one, but this one is set in a pub. That's literally all I know, is I believe it's in an Irish pub. There is some type of mystery happening, and this is exactly like The Appeal, where it's literally all emails, it's all letters, it's all lists or interviews or some type of mixed media, which is so intriguing to me. I have read books with mixed media, but never before where like the entire book has been just mixed media. So I'm very interested in this author and I'm so happy when I got this copy, so thank you to the publisher. And then last but not least, I have been really wanting to try something by this author, so again I was super excited when the publisher sent me this finished copy of 50/50 by Steve Kavanaugh. This is supposedly part of a series though, I believe it's number 5, but I don't think you have to read it in order to read it and enjoy it. It is about twin sisters, and one of them calls 911 one day and says, "Hey, my sister killed my dad." I'm gonna correct myself, it just says 2 sisters. It doesn't say anything about twins. But they are sisters, so yeah, they're on trial for a murder of their father, so I'm very interested to see where this goes. Okay, this last stack of books is romance books and just other contemporary books or literary books that don't really necessarily fit a specific mold, but they may have like some romance element to it or something of that nature. But the first one that I am so stoked to read is Catherine Center's new book, The Love Haters. I've still only read one book by her, which is The Rom-Commers. I did give that one 4 or 5 stars and really enjoyed it, so I'm very excited for this one. I don't even know what it's about. I don't even really care what it's about because, to be quite frank, I just love her writing. She typically has no spice in her books, which is also something I really appreciate, and I just feel like this is going to be full of great witty banter, lots of humor, so I'm really excited to see what this one is going to be about, and I just love her books. Like, how beautiful is this book? The publisher also sent it to me, so thank you. And then I have Everything's Coming Up Rosie by Courtney Walsh. This is her newest kind of like contemporary romance book. I have heard that this one is like an ode to her love for theater. Rosie apparently is struggling with what to do with her future, so she signs up to help run this local theater. I don't know if it's like a summer program or what, but however, when she arrives, things don't quite line up and Rosie quickly realizes she should have read the job offer a little more closely. The regional theater is actually a retirement community. The actors are actually senior citizens, and for the summer, Rosie is their fearless leader. Rosie's choice is simple: get back on the bus and hope for that big break, or stay and turn this pumpkin into a carriage. First of all, I did not even realize that this was like a senior citizen home. This book, I can already tell, is going to break my heart and it's going to be so emotional, and I'm even more excited now to read it. I just love the way Courtney Walsh writes character development, and I know this one is not going to disappoint. Next, I have Remarkably Bright Creatures, which I have been wanting to read every summer since this came out, but it was taking forever to come in paperback, and I knew there was going to be a reason because now there's going to be a Netflix adaptation of it. I don't know anything about this book other than it takes place from an octopus's perspective. It says it's ultimately a feel-good but deceptively sensitive debut about what it feels like to have love taken from you, only to find it again in the most unexpected places. I am a sucker for like a sad literary contemporary story. I don't know what it is, but if it's sad and it pulls on my heartstrings, I'm probably gonna give it 5 stars. I've heard nothing but great things about this, and I will definitely come well prepared before the show by finally reading this. And then I have Cara Bastone's Promise Me Sunshine. This book also sounds incredibly sad, but like I said, we love a sad book. Grieving the loss of her best friend, a young woman finds her life turned upside down when she meets a grumpy stranger who swears he can help her live again. I did not get the chance to read Ready or Not, but I feel like this one is going to be more up my alley. So excited to see how this author explores grief. I love books that include depth and heartbreak and character development and just realistic type of romances, and I feel like this book is going to give me that. Next, I have Welcome to the Hunamdong Bookshop. This is a Korean translated work, which I'm so excited about. I have had really great experiences with other like Asian or Korean translated works I've read in the past, and I've heard this one tugs at your heartstrings and it sounds so incredible. This is a heartwarming story about acceptance and the healing power of books. If you're like me, I love a book about books. I will read anything that is said at a bookshop, and I think this book is just going to be lighthearted and fun, but also really thought-provoking, and I love this cover. It screams spring, and I really hope that I can fit it in this year. Then I have Lessons in Chemistry, which I've almost been so close to watching the show so many times, but I was like, no, I've heard the book is super powerful, so I want to start there first. I do know know, this book explores a lot of hard topics. It's set in the 60s. Our main character Elizabeth is studying to be a scientist, but during that time, or at the institute she's studying, I guess there's only males that can join the program. And so she starts this cooking show that blows up and gains people's attention. And so from there, I don't know where her story is going to lead us, but I've heard it is heartbreaking, but it's gut-wrenching and also just super impactful. I'm really hoping to get to this one soon because I see it literally everywhere all the time at every single bookstore and store that I visit, it feels like. The next book I have is The Giver of Stars, which I realize is pretty backlisted at this point, but for some reason it's one of those books that I continue to see everywhere all the time. I've never read anything by this author. Set in Depression era America, a breathtaking story of 5 extraordinary women and their remarkable journey through the mountains of Kentucky and beyond. I have been on the search for like the next Kristen Hanna, but I've not really been drawn to another author that has written a historical book that I'm super interested in. But again, something about this just continues to call my name. I own very little historical books, so I want to add to my collection, and I feel like this is going to be a good place to start. And then I have The Secret Book of Flora Lee, which I honestly, embarrassingly, did not realize that this was from the same author that wrote Once Upon a Wardrobe, which I loved. And this one sounds so good. It's about a woman who stumbles across a mysterious children's book. Long-held secrets about her missing sister and their childhood spent in the English countryside during World War II are revealed. I think this is going to be a story where books tie characters together from different timelines, and I think it's just going to be so cool. Once again, we're just adding to my historical collection, and I've heard really great things about this one. I've loved what I've read from the author before. And then last but not least, from the publisher, I recently received Hopelessly Devoted, which I was gonna buy this regardless if a publisher sent it to me or not. So I'm so happy to have it in my hands early. I'm definitely gonna be saving this for fall. I don't know if it's a debut, but I don't know if you can tell there's like a spider web down here, and it looks like a cozy romance, and I'm so here for that. Hopeless Devoted delivers a perfect love story with a side of tender, heart-wrenching thoughtfulness about grief, healing, and how to make the most of second chances. This definitely reminds me of Ashley Poston a little bit because apparently there's like these spirits all over town, and I love when there's like little ghosty elements included in any type of story. I have high hopes for this one. I think I'm really gonna end up enjoying it. You'll definitely want to add this to your fall TBR. Well friends, thank you so much for sticking around and listening to me yap about books. I could sit here and yap about books I'm excited to read all day long, but I do have some very exciting books that I'm genuinely excited to read this year, and I'm so glad I finally have the room to add these new books to my shelves. Thank you so much for watching. You'll have to let me know, what is the last book you hauled? Are you excited for any of these books yourself? Please let me know before you leave in the comments below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video.